Hello, my name is Anton, and in this podcast, I'll be exploring the world of people and their paths to finding themselves. This is the first episode, and the guest is Nastia Sartania, Georgian musician, founder of Creative Education Studio in Tbilisi, founder of different music labels, and just a local music scene enthusiast. Nastia was one of the first people I've met when I arrived to Georgia, and is one of the kindest people I know. I was studying in CS and I've spent countless hours in the studio, so we would see each other all the time, but never had a chance to have a long conversation where I could ask all the questions I had. We've talked about Nastia's path to building CS, local music scene, protesting in Georgia, and much more. The conversation was recorded in summer, but I'm just finding courage to start releasing the episodes I've recorded. I hope you enjoy listening to it, and if you want to support the podcast, just like and share it. Peace. So to warm up, I'll ask an easy one. What is music for you?
Oh, this I've heard so many times this question, and I've heard so many answers. And the most controversial, it's always like it's everything. And why some people say it's everything, and then you feel, oh my God, she said it. First of all, music is like me, like I am to myself. Music is a little bit the same because ever since I remember myself, I'm surrounded with music. I'm in music entire my life. So I don't remember a moment from my life without music. So one thing, how it makes me feel, and another one is what it is or what is it. So yeah, it's just part of me, or I'm part of music. I don't know. It's like where music starts and I end the other way around.
I tried to Google you.
Right?
Yeah, and
You wouldn't find much, no?
I didn't find much, but I was surprised that it says like you have a very classical background.
Yeah, it's true.
You played the piano, and you played it like first in Georgia and then in UK, I think. Do you remember how did you feel music back then?
No, you know what? It's like we both come from like Soviet backgrounds. We know we know it and how it used to be basically. My grandma was a pianist, and she was teaching at conservatoire here in Tbilisi. And I've been brought up by my grandmother. Yeah, she was like mother to me. And entire my life, since I'm born, first of all, she would have like maybe 10 students coming like twice a week or like 4 times a week. And you know how it used to be? They used to teach at home also, like not because of the times, no electricity, this and that. Rather than going to like a conservatoire, quite often they would have the students coming home. So all my life I was in music. My grandma said I was only 2 years old, and she had this like huge vinyl collection of like classical music. And when her students left, she would listen to music, and she would listen to the pieces that her students were playing so that she could judge, you know. And she told me that I was only 2, and I said Richter was playing something. I don't know, obviously I don't remember. And I said, oh, this is Nino playing Nino. And she didn't realize at first. And so then she realized, okay, I was only 2 and I could recognize even each piece, you know, of music or something. And then she was really obsessed for me. She really wanted me to be a pianist. So it was not my choice to become one or to get into music or something. It's just natural background that I came with. I definitely had no choice to do something else. So ever since I'm 5 years old, I've been spending like first 3-4 hours, and then like, you know, most of my days at the piano while my friends been playing in the yard, kind of thing.
How did you end up in UK?
Yeah, then the Civil War started. My mom got married to British guy. It was 93, horrible times. Me and my brother, we left for UK. I lived there for 16 years. So I went to conservatoire. I ended up going to conservatoire in London, actually, yeah. I was a very good pianist back then, actually. And, you know, it's like on my first year at Trinity College of Music, where I did my degree, I was very, oh, she's so good and she's amazing pianist. Everyone wanted to be my friend. And I had some Georgian friends also. And it was very easy, actually. I didn't have any, maybe I was too young. And plus, despite the fact that I was playing piano and I was classically trained, I adored all kinds of music. I had already started working here at Radio One. That was the very, very first radio station we had, FM radio station, as a DJ, radio DJ. So I was in all kinds of genres. It was not only classical music for me. And plus, when I was in London, those times is when drum and bass culture took start. So I was raving on drum and bass like crazy. And yes, it was fantastic, really. I didn't have any hard times, especially with that much music and freedom and, options. The same year, Goldie released Inner City Life. So that was like a phenomenal year for drum and bass.
I was gonna ask you why are you so into drum and bass here in Georgia? So that's because
Now
you
know
came. So obviously you came back at some point.
2008, I think.
Why have you decided to come back?
Well, my husband is Georgian. I met him here at the radio station, actually. And then he moved to London with me. We had already our first son, George. By then, I have already stopped playing piano because I wasn't already that much interested in playing piano. B, I had a kid and to look after. It was impossible, like 8 hours, like all day to play piano. It was just completely unreal. So my husband always knew that at some point we would come back to Georgia. And also it was very, very hopeful times for Georgia also. That was the times when for the very first time we actually really felt that we all had to get into it and build this country with like European orientations, because I think probably that was like golden 10 years when Russia didn't have as much influences as it's having now, for example, and before those years.
I actually wanted to ask you about this. I thought it would be like something by the end, but we're on this topic. I was here and even like, I wouldn't say taking part, but I was on the protests against the law. And I haven't seen anything like this in my life before. Like I've seen big protests in Russia, but it's not like they feel different. I think what was important that there were a lot of people from every generation, not just young people, but all people. And you were there, obviously, and many other people of CES.
We even actually closed the CES that day, which we hardly do. Even on national holidays, we still have lectures.
What do you think was your role, the role of your generation, and maybe what's the role of the younger generation?
You know what my role was? Well, CES is my role, let's put it that way. Or like I'm all in like for European future, obviously, yeah. So everything I do and my role, actually, I've been protesting, not even protesting, since maybe because I went to this specialized music school since 6 years I was, basically. And my school was on top of nearby Parliament, basically. So all my life, there were protests, all kinds of protests, always to do with Russia, but in, different kind of. And so this is for me, it's like so normal, And then we had civil war, and then everything was happening in front of Parliament all of entire my life, So for me, it's like, yeah, I don't want my children, obviously, to have the same, Like I'm like 45, and since I like you asked me about music, protests are the same, kind of thing. Yeah, for me now it's so hard actually to go to protests because I'm so tired. Sometimes I feel like, I mean, come on, always protesting the same thing in like 45 my life or 45 years kind of thing. Yeah, so my role was exactly, I think, what I did in a way, because I came, like I was living, I had a beautiful life in London. I came back because to build CES, for example, which is like an island, yeah, here of independent. We don't depend on anything. We survive as we survive, and we have the European values, obviously, yeah. And then the children who protest now, today, they are actually a bit like product of CES. No, I don't want to grow a huge deal. It's not about CES, obviously. There are so many people like me here who are doing what they believe in and who are like, all in for Europe again, yeah. And Georgia, it's not like Europe, European future for Georgia. So, first of all, it's all to do with Georgia, obviously. And we love our traditions. I love Georgian traditions and I use them every chance I have. So, yeah, that's so because and before us, and let's not forget our like parents who've done the same and who've been even less fortunate than us because they didn't even have feel of because they grew up in Soviet Union, they could not even listen to music from West.
Did you come back to build CES?
No, not at all. I mean, come on. I was like, at that time, I was making music. What education? Oh my God, if you told me that I'd have anything to do with education, I'd laugh, absolutely not. There was no plan whatsoever. Now I'll tell you. When I got back to Georgia, I was commissioned to do a live. It was I had live instruments like quartets and string instruments and piano and stuff with electronic sounds. Yeah. So when I came back here, there was this nightclub called Night Office, one of the old ones. Now I don't think it exists. Back in London, basically, we always had requests like, we need a pianist for this, we need a cello for Verve, we need, and we need scoring for this band, for that band. And community was like one community, they could communicate and do things together. And when I came, when I've been commissioned to do this live, obviously I needed lots of help because I needed scores for quartet, yeah. I needed many things. I needed sound engineer. I needed people who would play, yeah. I needed some arrangements. Basically, it was loads to do, yeah. And I wasn't prepared. I didn't even know how to make scores, right? In Tbilisi, and I was like, okay, I'm looking for people, it's a quartet who will play. I'm looking for someone who will make the scores from my Cubase files. And they looked at me going like, this girl is crazy. What are you talking about? What is electronic music? What is Cubase? What is computer? Oh my God, yeah? And it was like, there is one person that we've heard of on his grade 1, and he was Koka Nikoladze. He's a genius. Google him. He lives in Norway now. There is this one person who actually has a computer and who knows like how to use it, and whom we've heard there is some kind of something, new technology, something is happening. Obviously, I found Koka. And Koka is phenomenal. I really want you to Google him. He's a professor now. So Koka helped me, obviously, and I found amazing quartet. But I still ended up doing most of the things by myself, and there was no sound man, and it was mission impossible. Well, almost. We did it, but the quality was horrible, obviously, because there was no, absolutely, I don't know. It's like being in jungle or something. And then I thought, okay. I mean, we need to do something about it. So this friend of mine, who was in like school business, back then. He gave me the space and little bit of budget and told me to do whatever kind of thing. And then I thought, oh, of course we're going to do sound engineering courses. Of course. And there was really the only soundman that I knew and amazing sound engineer, Gwaji. And he's a friend. And so, yeah, we started CES. We made studio pretty much like this, but we only had one studio and much smaller than this one. And we had 11 students, and we started CES just like that, with 11 students with one course.
And now there's like, I think thousands of people all around Georgia and world, which are which are more or less the CS family.
3,000 plus, definitely.
How do you go about making the courses? There are some old courses, but there are some new ones.
Yeah, I think we go with the time. We feel what's important, and in our profession, you know how it is. Like every year, you might have something completely. But yes, obviously, we have core courses, kind of sound engineering, Ableton Live, DJing. Some of the courses that, everyone needs to know, kind of thing. Then it was about 5-6 years ago that we added this modular course. We were the first place with the course like that. Even now, we might be actually the only. Yeah, because Tonika, you don't know him, Marguelashvili Mes Montage. He was into modulars. He used to be, actually, most of our teachers that you see here are previously our students. Yeah, it's pretty much CS because it was the only school like using this like new technologies and stuff. Really, before CS, I think I'm not saying it because I have something to do with CS. It's just the truth. Before CS, everyone was self-taught. And after CS, okay, now I don't know whether it's good or not, and it can be better, obviously, but at least we now you can educate yourself here, yeah?
If you want my opinion, it's because like when you're self-educated, you need much more time to figure things out.
Yeah, and plus it's not even that. It's all to do with community and like-minded people. And so and I communicate a lot, and I always communicate with young ones, yeah. And that's how I feel what courses we should. For example, I didn't know much at all about, and still now I don't know much about modular, right? But I felt, it's important. I love the sound of it, obviously, and also when I see someone being like really excited and like myself, when I was starting CS, I believed in it so much. No one could even understand what I was doing. My grandmother, by the way, she would ask me, "What are you doing? What kind of school is it?" I don't understand. I'm a musician. I've been a musician all my life. I don't understand what you're doing. And when I see people excited and believing in, I can do it. So Tornika came like, let's buy a modular and let's do the course. And I was like, what? How much does it cost? And we're always broke, we're very limited because we don't have any funding whatsoever. Only whatever comes with students, that's it. He was so excited. I could not even, and when I see someone so excited, they can definitely do it, kind of thing, So we did it. Same goes with, yeah. And then, for example, with music production courses, now we have new people. I mean, of course, Nikako and Tusha are our core. Like they've been teaching more than 10 years already this course, and their songwriting course is a mind blow, I think. But we also have choice of young ones also, So Lua is only 22, I think, our new teacher. So we have these music production courses can be very different,
Yeah, well, the point you made about the community, I think, is the most important one in CS.
Yeah, and then we have DOA. I don't know whether you know Dancing on Architecture. It's the CS music industry and journalists, of course, graduates who have this platform. So yes, and they started this amazing Sounds of musical gatherings to help Ukraine originally, and now it's the sixth one we're doing next week. We're a one big community, but inside this big community, there are a few communities also, like modulars, which you're a big part of, and then these DOA people, and then records, and yeah.
Dancing on architecture. It looks amazing. First, like it's you. As soon as you see the poster, you want to go there. Yeah. I don't know who makes it, and then like obviously there is a big research involved to find the music, and many people are involved, I guess.
No, you know what? It's like, okay, so when this full-scale invasion started, we obviously wanted to do something to help, right? And we thought, let's do something charity. Let's make an event where people pay money and we pay to Ukraine or whatever. And then Jabba came up and with his students. I knew so little about Ukraine myself. And I hardly knew any Ukrainian music at all, to be honest. And he was, let's do 20 hours of Ukrainian music. What? And we are a big community of Doha. It's more than 20 of us, actually. And then Jabba comes up with, say, you have Kharkov, you do sounds of Kharkov, sounds of Kiev, 60s, or electronic music, or folk, or classical. And then he has 20 titled subjects, kind of, from Ukraine, and 20 of us make a selection. So it's not one person making 20 hours of music. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a teamwork. It doesn't feel like a hard work, but when you look at it, 20 hours of music from one country, it's not bad.
And it's amazing because sometimes it's hard to find new music.
You need to know how to find it also. It might be there, but not be able to find it, kind of.
The CES Records. How did it start it, and why did it?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I have a background of radio, working in radio station, and I love radio station and broadcasting, and this is very special for me, and for my husband also, who's the maker of Fabrica, and we always thought that we'd have a radio station at some point of our life. And when I started CES, I thought that's it. We're gonna have a CES radio or something, you know. Now David thinks, okay, we're gonna have Fabrica radio or something. Yeah. Somehow this radio never happened, but Mutant, we always have Mutant radio. And then we had so many amazing people coming here, and these amazing homeworks, and I always share the homeworks, you know that. And we had this, and Tusha and Nika, through Tusha and Nika, I always had some mind-blow homeworks, and I thought, okay, maybe not the radio station, but let's do the records, yeah, and call it a CES Records, obviously, and it would be like a platform for our students. And it's not strictly our students, of course, but, you know. And, but I was like, okay, let's do it, but, you know. And Tusha and Nika, about 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know, had this amazing group, very strong group, with Anushka Tchait, Nazi. No, I don't want to name all of them because they're all amazing. And it was mostly all of them were female, you know. Oh, and Tusha loves, you know, Tusha is always empowering women here, and she's a role model to, you know, most of female musicians you find in Georgia. And she said, okay, let's do the compilation of female-only artists. And I was, what? Okay. So, yes. And then Sleepers, Poets, Scientists came. It was the compilation of 9 female Georgian artists, 7 of whom, well, all of us are Natalie students, including myself, because I also took her course 12 years ago, a bit. And that was our very, very first release, and it's on double vinyl. And now even we have second volume of that.
What is the process of running a label? Because I've asked you recently about it. You're like, oh, it's hard. I'm like, duh, I guess it's hard.
No, you know what? Now the way I run it, and way many music lovers run it, also independent, small music labels. It's hard because usually we don't have staff, because we don't have resources. We don't have team, and in my case, I do everything, and that's why it's hard, and it's not the only job that I have, right? And it's not even a job because it doesn't pay me anything. And I don't only have one music label, but I have two. So I think it's not very healthy what I do, but I enjoy doing it so much that I don't mind still. So I might not be the good person to ask me this question, but because I don't think it's the very natural way of how labels should be run. People who listen to music, who find music, you have team basically, like imagine I listen to music, I choose music. Most of the time, of course, I'm not a designer, but I get involved in creating the design also, yeah. If we're doing a video, I'm always a runner on the video set. There are so many things, and then I don't run the distribution, but I communicate with the distribution. I communicate with the pressing plant. I communicate with shipping companies. I mean, there are so many little details, and I do it on my own kind of thing. Of course, I have team in terms of artists and, designers and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, I'm not an artist and a designer. But yeah. But I think I'm also a control freak. That's not very healthy, I guess.
The second, is it the label? I'm not sure. The Georgian Legacy Music.
Georgian Music Legacy Collection is another label that I started with Jabba. We mentioned him already. He's my partner. Without him, there would be no way I could do it. And it's vinyl only in print, so we operate only on vinyl.
So you do not distribute it online?
No, it's just vinyl.
Why
limited. Well, because we deal with, first of all, we dig into like old Georgian music legacy. It gives you lots of opportunities and time travel and everything, obviously. But right now, because of the political situation and everything that we're in, we've decided to concentrate on music created in independent Georgia times. So right now we're covering from 90s or late 80s to beginning of 2000. And in fact, everything that I do with the school has lots to do. And we wouldn't be here if people creating back then this like amazingly free music and crazy music for the time. If they didn't do it, we'd not be able to do it what we do now. So yeah, and young people don't even know already that music, because it was like when Soviet Union collapsed, that was it. We only had vinyls on Melodia, imagine. And ever since Melodia collapsed, well, I think it's still running, but I mean, and then there was no any industry, let alone music industry. So now independent labels started making their own records, right? I make record. I mean, we do lots of vinyls on CES. But there is this huge gap of 30 years of this phenomenal music that some of them are not even distributed, are not even streaming. Not some, but more than half maybe. And I think it's a big respect towards artists. And also, yeah, we collect music basically that hasn't been enoughly appreciated.
I think you have a event tomorrow at Mutant.
Yes, we have another release tomorrow of a phenomenal Georgian dance empire, 1992 recording. And it is dancey, but it's also punk. It's also alternative. It's also folk. It's crazy 5 songs basically. And most importantly, all 4 of them are going to be tomorrow at Mutant Radio, and they haven't really communicated in 30 years with each other. So it's going to be their first meeting too. So let's see how that goes.
How was life before Mutant? Because
yes, tell me about it. Yeah, Mutant is amazing. We basically do everything almost there, like all our events, all our release parties and stuff. Yeah.
it opened not so long ago, right?
Yeah, it was
19.
right before the pandemics. 19, yeah.
And like right now, I don't know, maybe it's just my weird perception because CS is very closely related to Mutant.
Yes, some people even ask me, do you work at Mutant Radio? Because actually, it's the second place where I spend most of my time. Yeah, but I don't go that much at all. Unless I play, I don't really go to clubs. And I think it's a bar. I do like to drink, and they always have good music, and the musical genres vary. So it's not just this kind of music or that kind of music. Very often I'd go there and I'd be really surprised So yeah, if you're a music lover and if you like to drink, I think it's the place to be.
About
drinking.
About the drinking. No, about the music genres. I thought I know something in music before coming to Georgia. Like I've studied in musical school for 10 years, and I was a fan all the time. But then I came to Georgia. I started studying in CS, and I started going to clubs and Mutant, and I realized that I don't know shit, actually, basically, and that there is a lot of music. There's a lot of experimental music, first of all, like which you cannot really define by some particular genre, and then just in every genre you can dig so deep that like you'll find amazing pieces which no one ever heard. How do you think people can start to enjoy music that they don't know? Because sometimes it's difficult. Like sometimes it's difficult to understand experimental music and noise music, and people like just cannot enjoy it because they don't understand it.
So what is your question exactly?
How to listen and how to understand new music.
Okay, I know exactly what you mean actually. When I was studying in London Conservatoire, obviously in Georgia there was no contemporary music whatsoever, classical. I mean, it was only very, after I think Scarabin everything was not music for, I think. And then when I was studying in London, there was this boom, like contemporary music. And obviously I had lots of classmates who were like composers, and many Japanese actually for some reason. And you actually, as part of your syllabus, you had to play their music. It was so hard for me. I mean, I could not play because, you know how they say practice makes perfect, yeah? You listen once, you don't understand. You listen twice, you don't understand. And then you get used to it little bit, Even sometimes, I don't know, because you make amazing music yourself. And don't you ever have that you, after you stopped, after you made your music already and it's online or something, SoundCloud or wherever it is, and you let it go, and then you start listening to it, and then you hear it completely different. No, you don't have that? As if it's like already something. Yeah, so, and then, you know what, first of all, you don't have to like any kind of music that you don't like. You should not ever, you should never force yourself to get into experimental music, for example, or classical music. It's not a must, right? It's for your heart. It's whatever makes you feel good. Yeah. It's whatever. Say if you like the environment at Mutant Radio, right? And forget about the music, yeah? But you go there once, you go there twice, you go there for people maybe, or for the bar, or for whatever reasons you go to. And then there is always music, right? And this music is always different, always. And then you get used to music also, it comes into your life like, and without you forcing yourself to accept it, but it's just there. And then more you hear it, more you like it, kind of thing, more you take it. And so, yeah, I don't think you need to start somewhere, or you should never even say to yourself, I think I must like this or something, you just do or you don't. Yeah, your music was so different. I remember first time when I've heard it. It was completely different genre, right? And now I haven't heard your music in a while. I have to admit, I'm sorry, but end of 10 months or something where you got, it's quite phenomenal, I would say. You can always go back to that or progress that side of yourself, but I don't know the answer to your question. You should not force yourself to either start anywhere or make yourself like something. You will if it feels right, and if you want to do it. But if you're not a listener, I can't really imagine how you can even make music, to be honest. If you don't enjoy listening, whatever you're listening to, then I can't imagine you making even whatever genre,
I think what amazes me and like inspires me about you the most, you're the most dedicated supporter of local scene, local people. And I mean, thank you for welcoming me into this space.
Thank you for being so dedicated. And, I mean, when I saw you, how dedicated you are, and you'd come here, you'd book the studio, and, your like eyes would go sparkling, okay, entering the studio and everything. That means everything, And that's why, that's why we exist, to have that, to have your kind of students.
Maybe you remember in the beginning I said that this is also something I want to learn from. Do you have any advice to young sound or music enthusiasts in here in Georgia, or like just anywhere?
Any advice? Okay, so enthusiast can be a selector, can be a listener, can be a raver, can be a composer. You need to be more for like someone who makes music, or
Not necessarily. That's the thing. Even meeting people, I realized that in like people can enjoy music and not necessarily need to make it.
first of all, I'd be happy to take any advices from you or for anyone, any young people whatsoever, or any older people or anyone. Not good at all at giving advices. The only advice is just to be honest and just to enjoy what you enjoy, and just be very simple, kind of, and truthful. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter whether it's music or a relationship or politics or anything you do. You just need to you need to be fair, honest, and that's it. I think for me, it already works if you're honest, and if you're like, this is me, kind of, not too much pretending, and stuff. So yeah, just be honest. And then if you love music, well, music's gonna love you back. So